The anime begins with Shiratori Mikoto, a student in high school and a badminton player in a team with his friend Tachibana Azuma. They win a prize together after winning a badminton contest. Due to the numerous achievements they have attained, their friends refer to them as a genius doubles pair because of their abilities and synergy. Unfortunately, their success ends when they play against Wayaku High School. In that game, Azuma becomes the target of their opponents. They keep hitting the shuttlecock towards him until he gets tired. Still, Azuma, not wanting to be a problem for his friend, keeps trying until he accidentally crashes into Mikoto, who is also trying to catch the shuttlecock. This accident injures Azuma's arm badly, preventing them from continuing the match. Mikoto feels guilty for what happened to Azuma, especially when other students blame him for Azuma's injury. Because of this, Mikoto refuses to play in the doubles team and chooses to become a singles player. After graduating from school, Mikoto, who used to play badminton at Mitsuhoshi Bank Club, has to quit because his performance declines. Even though he's good at guessing where his opponents will hit, he often loses points because he remembers the accident with Azuma. Feeling upset about his career, he decides to go back home to his mom's place in Kyoto, hoping for something good to happen. One day, Mikoto gets a phone call inviting him to join the badminton club at Sunlight Beverage Company. On the day of the meeting, Mikoto dresses nicely to go to the company. On the way, he meets Miyazumi Tatsuru, who's drunk in the park. Unable to leave Tatsuru there, so Mikoto helps him after Tatsuru trips over some playground equipment and gives him a drink. Unexpectedly, it turns out that Tatsuru is Mikoto's senior and co-worker, who is now part of the sales marketing team of that beverage company. Just like Mikoto, Tatsuru is also a member of the Sunlight Beverage Company's badminton club, which helps promote the company's products if the club competes in badminton tournaments. Even though their team is currently not doing well in the Japan Premier League, Tatsuru thinks they'll get better. After work, some employees from the company who are in the badminton club train at an elementary school, because the club doesn't have much money. Mikoto meets some club members there like Seiki Shada, who plays singles, Seiki Taoya and Takeda Kaki, who play doubles, and Onabe Yasumi, who coaches them. Meanwhile, Tatsuru, who used to play singles, will be playing doubles with Mikoto, which annoys Mikoto, leading him to reject Yasumi's request. Mikoto says he'd rather quit than play doubles. Tatsuru doesn't like seeing Mikoto unhappy with the coach's decision, so he challenges Mikoto to a match. If Tatsuru wins, Mikoto has to agree to play doubles, but if Tatsuru loses, Mikoto can play singles like he wants. Without wasting time, Mikoto agrees to Tatsuru's challenge, and they start playing right away. At the beginning, Tatsuru dominates the game, scoring points continuously, while Mikoto mostly defends without attacking back. But halfway through, Mikoto starts playing seriously. He figures out Tatsuru's weaknesses and predicts where he'll hit the shuttlecock, allowing Mikoto to anticipate and counterattack. Because of this, Mikoto earns a reputation as a skilled badminton player who's always a tough opponent. However, Mikoto's advantage doesn't last because his past trauma suddenly comes back to him. He remembers Azuma getting hurt during their collision on the court, and he loses focus. His game becomes chaotic, and he ends up losing to Tatsuru. Because of this loss, Mikoto has to follow Yasumi's order to join the doubles team with Tatsuru. After training, Tatsuru tries to make Mikoto feel comfortable by asking him questions and giving their doubles team a nickname. Tatsuru does this because he's proud to be on the same team as a great player like Mikoto. The following morning, Mikoto and Tatsuru started their usual work routine as part of the sales and marketing team, promoting beverage products to many people. Despite their busy schedule, Mikoto found time to practice with his colleagues, even though the training facilities provided by the club were not great. Mikoto began to adjust to these limitations while still working hard, but his past trauma was still a big obstacle for him to play with Tatsuru in the doubles team. As Mikoto's teammates noticed his struggles during team matches, they began to worry if they could qualify in the upcoming preseason matches, especially since they would be facing Kirishima Hayato, the world's second-ranked badminton player from the Unisex club. A few days later, the Sunlight Beverage team went to the Unisex team headquarters for a preseason match. With Hayato there, the Unisex team got more attention from the media, which was good for the club as it helped promote their sponsors' new products. However, Kaki and Talia, who were playing against Unisex doubles team, Yagami Jun and Natsuki Ryo, felt nervous and struggled to keep up with their opponent's pace. They couldn't match their gameplay and ended up falling behind in points by the end of the second set. But in the next match, Shada, representing the men's singles players, brought hope to the team by winning 2 straight sets. His experience and sharp observation skills helped him defeat the opponent's singles player, allowing the match between the two teams to continue to the next round with other doubles teams. Sunlight Beverages then assigned Tatsuru and Mikoto to face off against Hayato and his partner, Oginame Daiki, who were known to be tough opponents, making Mikoto and Tatsuru struggle to keep up with their gameplay. The Sunlight Beverages team lacked experience in matches, and Mikoto couldn't predict Hayato's shots, allowing the Unisex team to score continuously, leaving them far behind. Mikoto's sudden trauma during the match made things even worse, and the opposing team took advantage, leading to a staggering score of 21-4 in the first set. During the break, Tatsuru tried to convince Mikoto to trust him and share the court because they were a team. Mikoto realized his mistakes from the first set, where he tried to play alone without considering Tatsuru. So in the second set, he followed Tatsuru's advice. Tatsuru moved freely and backed up Mikoto whenever needed. With this teamwork, they managed to counter the opponent's attacks and score more points, eventually winning the second set. However, they ultimately had to admit defeat to Hayato and Daiki in the final set. Even though they lost, the match against Unisex marked a new beginning for Mikoto as he began to accept Tatsuru as his teammate and recognize the mistakes he made while playing doubles. During a break in the preseason competition, Sunlight Beverages assigned Mikoto to create a new beverage product. After his proposal got approved, Mikoto and his team were tasked with surveying the company's factory in Tatebayashi to gather market expansion potential information. After a brief interview with the factory manager, they got enough data to report back to Sunlight Beverages. During the report writing, Mikoto seemed unenthusiastic in the meeting due to his slow writing skills. But with Tatsuru and others' help, he started enjoying his work as part of the sales and marketing team. Even during the report writing, Tatsuru and his friends teased Mikoto to lighten the mood. Later that night, while at the hot spring bath with Tatsuru, Mikoto opened up about his trauma from the incident with Azuma during men's doubles. He admitted being afraid of the same incident to happen again. Upon hearing this, Tatsuru tried to encourage Mikoto, reminding him they were on the same team now. He assured Mikoto that he didn't need to fear playing aggressively because Tatsuru would support him. Some time later, an employee badminton tournament was about to start, and the Sunlight Beverages players seemed to be practicing hard between their busy schedules as part of the company's sales and marketing team. They'd always found time to practice together after work. Even though their team was considered the underdog in every tournament, Tatsuru and the others showed their progress on the court. With Shota matured as his singles player, and Mikoto joined as Tatsuru's partner, helping Tatsuru develop winning strategies against opponents. Because of this, the Sunlight Beverages team won several matches and impressed other teams by the fourth day of the competition. However, amidst their victories, Mikoto faced a problem when his proposed Leap beverage didn't pass the company's quality control test. Hutsuema Toru, the head of Key C, reminded Mikoto to prioritize the product's safety for the public. So, accompanied by Tatsuru, Mikoto had to meet with farmers and experts to research if leeks were suitable for a healthy beverage. Despite being busy, they still found time to practice badminton, especially since the tournament was ongoing. A few days later, Mikoto and the team returned for the tournament and faced the Tamori. Known for their strong badminton team, Tamori posed a tough challenge for Sunlight Beverages, especially for Mikoto. This was because Mikoto's former high school teammate, Azuma, strengthened the Tamori, bringing back Mikoto's trauma. In a surprising move, Tamori changed their strategy by pairing Taonozaki Siryu with Azuma against Mikoto and Tatsuru in the second match. In the first match, Tamori sent Gokura Katetsuan Saruba Ukade against Tauya and Kaki. Sunlight Beverages struggled against Katetsuan Ukade, who were better players, causing them to lose the first round with a score of 21-14. Kaki's stage fright and the lack of teamwork between him and Tauya made matters worse. Entering the second round, Kaki still appeared nervous with the many supporters of the opposing team cheering in the spectator stands, which made him anxious due to his trauma related to crowds when his feelings were rejected by a girl in public. This anxiety ultimately affected Kaki's playing style, and he couldn't focus on reading the opponent's movements, leading to another painful defeat with a score of 21-9 in the second round. Meanwhile, seeing Kaki blaming himself for the loss, Shota became more determined to face the Tamori in the next singles match. With Shouta's strong technique and calmness, he convincingly won 2 consecutive rounds, silencing his opponent. Shouta's victory set the stage for the continuation of the match between Sunlight Beverage's men's doubles team and Tamari to determine the advancing team. In the third match, Sunlight Beverages fielded Mikoto and Tatsuru against the Tamari's men's doubles pair, Azuma and Siryu. As Mikoto faced Azuma, he assumed Azuma resented him for the past incident, causing Mikoto to blame himself and affecting his ability to predict the opponent's moves. Mikoto made frequent mistakes and couldn't focus with Azuma present, leading to a heavy defeat in the first set for the Sunlight Beverages team against Tamari. Meanwhile, Azuma noticed that Mikoto was struggling due to their past accident. In the second set, Azuma intentionally played more seriously to motivate Mikoto to take the match seriously against the Tamari. However, Mikoto seemed indifferent to Azuma's efforts, and Tamari continued to outperform Sunlight Beverages. Feeling frustrated, Azuma expressed his feelings to Mikoto. At the same time, Tatsuru scolded Mikoto for letting past events affect his game and suggested they switch positions, with Mikoto moving to the back. This strategy increased the team's cohesion, with Mikoto focusing on defending attacks from the opposing team. Gradually, Mikoto and Tatsuru caught up, and Mikoto showcased his abilities again, understanding Azuma's desire not to be a burden. They managed to win the second set convincingly with a score of 21-19 against Tamari. In the deciding set, both teams played intensely, and Mikoto, supported by Tatsuru, managed to match the opponent's game. At a critical moment, Mikoto read the opponent's shot and scored a crucial point with a powerful smash, leading to a score of 20-19. This boosted their determination, and they ultimately won the match, advancing Sunlight Beverages to the next round. The following morning, there was an issue with the beverage product Mikoto proposed during the tasting event organized by the company. Although the company approved the beverage for limited production, Usuyama Toru, in charge of the event, received information that Mikoto's lead drink was made using leftover ingredients. Concerned for consumer safety, Toru removed Mikoto's drink from the list of beverages to be introduced that day. This prompted an investigation, with Mikoto and Tatsuru rushing to the finance department to check the purchase slips for leftover ingredients at the production factory. After searching through many purchase slips, they found the relevant one and discovered that the leftover ingredients were not used in making Mikoto's lead drink. They informed Toru of their findings, proving Mikoto's beverage was safe for introduction to the public. Mikoto then obtained permission again to introduce his new beverage product and arranged for it to be delivered to the event location. Luckily, Azuma helped Mikoto ensure smooth product distribution, as he also worked in the transportation company. Mikoto thanked Azuma for assisting him in delivering his beverage product on time. As the weekend arrived, the quarterfinal round of the badminton tournament began, with the Sunlight Beverages team facing the Unisix team, who had previously defeated them in the preseason match. Despite Unisix's confidence from their previous victories, Mikoto and Tatsuru were determined to give their best. In the first match against the Unisix men's doubles team, Daiki and Hayato. In the first round of the match, Toru, sitting in the spectator stands, observed that the Sunlight Beverages team was getting caught up in the rhythm of the opponent's calmer play. With good positioning and Hayato's powerful smashes, Mikoto and Tatsuru were forced to concede the first set to their opponents. Unexpectedly, Mikoto and his teammates remained calm because the loss had been part of Mikoto's plan. In a strategy discussed of Tatsuru the day before, Mikoto suggested allowing the opponents to lead in the first set to observe their playing style. By identifying the opponent's weaknesses, Mikoto and Tatsuru turned the game around in the second set, capitalizing on Daiki's weak lobs. However, Unisix quickly adjusted, making the second set tighter. Despite the intense exchanges, Mikoto and Tatsuru managed to gain match point for Sunlight Beverages. With the help of the wind affecting the shuttlecock's rotation, Tatsuru managed to return Hanato's powerful smash, ultimately ending the second set. In the third set, Mikoto and Tatsuru once again performed exceptionally well, matching the Unisix team's top doubles play. Mikoto's ability to predict and Tatsuru's flexibility in defending allowed them to score points consistently. Despite Tatsuru enduring a leg injury during the final attack, they managed to secure victory over Hayato and Daiki, temporarily putting the Sunlight Beverages team in the lead. In the next match, Shada represented Sunlight Beverages against Mizuru Hayato, a young player who had recently joined the Unisix team. However, Shada, known for his strategic gameplay, struggled against Hayato's fast-paced style. Ayato's precise ball placement outmatched Shada, leading to his defeat in 2 consecutive sets. With a tie score, the Sunlight Beverages team and the Unisex team moved on to a deciding match to determine the advancing team. In that match, Kaki and Talia were chosen to represent Sunlight Beverages. Despite Kaki overcoming his anxiety, they struggled to match the determination and teamwork of the Unisex team. Despite their efforts to defend, Kaki and Talia couldn't turn the game in their favor, leading to their defeat and ending Sunlight Beverages' hopes of reaching the final. Meanwhile, Toru, who was in the spectator stands, appeared eager to return to the field because he was known to be a former badminton athlete who had previously decided to retire and focus more on his family. Encouraged by his wife Futami, Toru gathered the courage to ask Yasumi for permission to join the Sunlight Beverages team. Yasumi agreed, knowing Toru's experience would benefit the team as they will compete in the badminton league, which will be held in 5 months. However, Yasumi reminded Toru to train hard as he would face younger, more agile players. Toru agreed to everything Yasumi asked because he truly wanted to experience the thrill of badminton matches again. On the other hand, while walking in the stadium corridor, Mikoto and Tatsuru bumped into Tatsuru's former partner, Izumo, who now belonged to the Mitsuhoshi Bank team. Despite their past as men's doubles partners, they were in a heated argument. At the same time, Mikoto encountered his former teammate, Kirishima Takuma, who taunted Mikoto about their high school tournament loss due to Mikoto's mistake. Upon hearing this, Mikoto appeared angry and challenged Takuma to a match in the Japanese Badminton League. However, Takuma brushed off the challenge, claiming his status as Japan's top player. On another day, Mikoto was alone in the office as Tatsuru was on an assignment out of town. Surprisingly, Mikoto stumbled upon documents detailing Tatsuru's injury. He couldn't believe Tatsuru had been concealing his leg injury from him. Without delay, Mikoto sought out Yasumi to discuss Tatsuru's injury examination results. According to Yasumi, Tatsuru had been suffering from a ligament injury long before partnering with Mikoto. This revelation left Mikoto uncertain about continuing their doubles career. He feared a repeat of Izuma's fate happening to Tatsuru, especially considering Tatsuru's role in his playing style. Upon returning home to his mother's house, still grappling with uncertainty, Mikoto stumbled upon his childhood diary while gathering his belongings. As he read through its pages, memories flooded back, particularly of Tatsuru, who had encouraged young Mikoto to become a badminton athlete. Reflecting on Tatsuru's influence, Mikoto resolved to continue partnering with him in the men's doubles team. Determined, Mikoto sought out Tatsuru in the park, while carrying shuttlecock in hand. At that moment, Mikoto reassured Tatsuru to find the best way to play without worsening his injury. Hearing all of this, Tatsuru felt happy and agreed to all of Mikoto's requests. As the Japanese league approached in the following 3 months, the Sunlight Beverages team, including Mikoto and Tatsuru, eagerly engaged in regular training sessions under Yasumi's guidance to refine their skills and teamwork. Tatsuru, mindful of his knee injury, diligently worked on controlling his body to avoid worsening it. Additionally, he sought advice from Nakamori Akira, who was known as a professional disabled badminton athlete, on managing his ligament injury to ensure it didn't hinder his performance during matches. With Tatsuru's determination and the collective effort of the Sunlight Beverages team, they aimed for success in the upcoming Japanese league. With full dedication, the Sunlight Beverages team secured their place in the semifinals alongside formidable opponents like Mitsuhoshi Bank, Tomori, and Unisex. This achievement filled Mikoto and his teammates with a sense of validation for their hard work. Despite feeling nervous, Tatsuru, serving as the team captain, faced interviews with Japanese media alongside other team leaders, striving to answer questions from the host well. However, the team's success drew a negative reaction from the CEO, Aosidori, who viewed the badminton team as a financial burden to the company and did not generate satisfactory profits from their participation in various tournaments so far. Secretly, he plotted to disband the team by terminating Tatsuru's employment, by spreading false rumors of Tatsuru's violence against the deputy director, resulting in him sustaining injuries to his leg and arm. In a hearing conducted by Aosidori and other company leaders, he summoned Tatsuru to the room to explain the violence that Tatsuru had never committed. To convince other company executives who came, the deputy director deliberately appeared wearing a wheelchair with his arm and leg in casts. Additionally, Tatsuru was also blamed for his actions using Tomori Company's delivery services, which were outside Sunlight Beverage's company contract. So Aosidori asked Tatsuru to resign from the company immediately. If Tatsuru refused the CEO's request, Shiratori threatened to unilaterally disband the badminton team. Tatsuru, who did not want to see Mikoto and others saddened by the disbandment of the team, began to consider complying with the CEO's request until Mikoto suddenly entered the room and informed that the deputy director was only pretending to be injured. The deputy director then disagreed with Mikoto's statement and suddenly stood up, showing that he was not injured at all. With the exposure of the lie, Shiratori's plan to remove Tatsuru ultimately failed. At the same time, the Sunlight Beverages team continued the tournament without Tatsuru, who was replaced by the Seki brothers in the semifinal match against Unisex. Yasumi adjusted the strategy by fielding the Seki brothers in the men's doubles team. Initially, Shota and Talia, who had never been placed in the same team before, initially struggled against Unisex's best men's doubles play. However, they rallied through teamwork and practice shots, eventually securing victory in the second set. In the deciding set, they were able to maintain the rhythm of the game, relentlessly responding to their opponent's attacks until they succeeded in surprising everyone by defeating the best men's doubles team from Unisex. Although known as a new pair, the success of Shota and Talia proved the development of chemistry built by the Seki brothers in the match. After the victory of the Sunlight Beverages men's doubles team, Toru was fielded to represent his team as a singles player. Although Toru was not considered a favorite to win at all, he managed to win 2 sets in the match, which led the Sunlight Beverages team to advance to the final round. For the final match, Yasumi decided to stick with Talia and Shota as the first men's doubles pair, while Toru would represent the team in the singles match. Mikoto and Tatsuru were reserved for the second men's doubles, which could be crucial if the match extended to 3 games. Despite the team's weaknesses, including stamina issues and player injuries, Yasumi remained hopeful that Sunlight Beverages could emerge victorious in the Japanese league. During the final match, Talia and Shota secured a win by defeating the Mitsuhoshi Bank men's doubles team in straight sets. This victory boosted the Sunlight Beverages team's confidence, proving that they, as underdogs, could compete with Japan's top teams. Shortly after in the singles match, Toru faced Ibuki Sentaro from Mitsuhoshi Bank. Initially struggling, Toru adjusted his strategy to play more aggressively, preventing long rallies that drained his stamina. This tactic helped him win the first set. However, in the second set, Sentaro, Toru's longtime rival, intensified his play in the second set, overpowering Toru and winning decisively with a significant score of 21-9. In the final set, Toru still tried to resist Sentaro's gameplay despite his decreasing stamina. Luckily, with the support of his wife and son in the spectator stands, Toru regained his spirit and tried his best even though he couldn't respond when his opponent executed a well-measured drop shot out of his reach. Until the end of the third set, Toru seemed unable to surpass Sentaro, who emerged as the winner in the singles match category. With both teams, Sunlight Beverages and Mitsuhoshi Bank, tied at 1 point each, they entered a decisive third match featuring Mikoto and Tatsuru against the world's best men's doubles team, Takuma and Izumo. Before the match, Takuma appeared to underestimate the Sunlight Beverages training facilities and methods, showing arrogance towards Mikoto and Tatsuru. This arrogance seemed justified as Takuma and Izumo dominated the first set with skillful drop shot combinations, thwarting their opponent's movements. Despite Tatsuru's attempts to narrow the score gap with aggressive play, Takuma slowed the pace with long rallies. Undeterred, Mikoto persisted, but he suffered a severe injury to his eye area. Yet he insisted on continuing the match to prevent losing the Japanese league championship to their opponents. Shortly after, the second set began and Mikoto, who had received urgent medical attention, requested Tatsuru to delay the game so he could attend to his injured eye. Initially, Tatsuru struggled, but he eventually focused, strategically placing the shuttlecock in challenging areas for the opponents. When Mikoto was prepared to continue, he utilized his skill to anticipate the opponent's moves, enabling them to score points and shift the momentum. Employing this strategy, they managed to dominate the game and secure victory in the second set. In the third set, the match intensified as both teams displayed their prowess, resulting in a close score on the court. However, when the opposing team reached match point, Mikoto's injury worsened, leading Tatsuru to prioritize Mikoto's safety over winning. Meanwhile, Mikoto encouraged Tatsuru not to give up, reigniting his determination, especially upon hearing the continuous support from their fans in the stands. With renewed spirit, Mikoto and Tatsuru rallied, closing the gap and eventually reaching match point against the formidable men's doubles team. The match concluded with a decisive smash from Tatsuru, breaking through the opponent's defense and securing the Sunlight Beverage's team's first championship in Japan's premier badminton league. This victory also boosted the sales of the company's beverage products, particularly Mikoto's Leap drink. As the anime concluded, it shows all the Sunlight Beverage's team members posing for a photo with Yasumi to commemorate their triumph in the Japanese league. Moral lesson from the story: always trust your teammate, especially if they say leaks make a great drink. But if you forget to check the ingredients or ignore your partner, you might end up with a sour taste or a painful defeat.